Welcome back, COSA 25 folks. Professor Almeida here. Happy Thursday, everyone. And because it is Thursday, I am hanging out in the Canvas Live chat until noon Pacific time today. In this video, I want to look ahead to week 7, but as usual, before we get to week 7, there are a couple of housekeeping items, and I want to start with Guided Project 5-1. And to be honest, I should have done this in the last announcement video, but there has been some confusion and issues surrounding Guided Project 5-1, and I'm going to quickly go over the first couple of steps leading up to 6C and 6F because this is where people have been getting into trouble. Alright, so without further ado, let's dive right in. And as a matter of fact, I have Guided Project 5-1 open here, so let me switch over to the project. I'll go ahead and click OK, and then we'll enable content. Yes, we'll make this a trusted document. Let me close the faculty list form here. So, skipping ahead to step 5, they have you modify the faculty table. I'm going to open up in design view. This is what it should look like. Okay, you were asked to delete and rename a couple of fields. And I want to go down to the department field here. And in field properties, we'll switch over to the lookup tab. This is what it should look like. Okay, where people tend to get into trouble is not fully understanding the syntax or the language that you need to speak in Access, if that makes sense. And as a matter of fact, if you look at the instructions here, skipping down to step 5, you can see right here, they tell you explicitly what to add. Okay, you have to include the semicolons, you have to include the double quotes. So take a moment, double check, make sure that you are typing things in exactly as they're asked of you. Okay, you've heard me say this before. When it comes to Access, you have to be careful and methodical because if you make one little typo, it can really throw things off. And, you know, that undo button is not always there. All right, so that is step 5. And then when we get to step 6, when it comes to the faculty extended query, let's go into the design grid here. You'll see file as and contact name. Now, because you deleted the company field, we have to make this change in here. And if you don't do this correctly, you won't be able to get your project graded. So I'm going to right click and choose zoom, and for a moment it looks like you're working with the expression builder, but it's not. Zoom lets me see everything that's here in the cell. So this is what it's supposed to look like after deleting the company field. And you also have to include the comma. As a matter of fact, here is step 6. Part C in particular, you have to delete the company field with the comma, and if you don't delete the comma, it's not going to work. Okay, so this is what it needs to look like for file as. I'll go ahead and cancel it, and then I'll right click, zoom on contact name. This is what you should have. Okay, so if you need to, pause this video on this screen, compare with your Guided Project 5-1. Okay. And again, it's just a matter of following the steps carefully. Okay, Guided Project 5-1 should be pretty doable, so as long as you are carefully following the steps. Okay, so take your time with this, and again, you can see here, you need to have the correct syntax. All right, and then hopefully you get the project graded and you get a good score on it. So that is Guided Project 5-1. Again, I probably should have shown you this in the last announcement video, but hopefully this clears up any confusion. Now, onward. Along with Guided Project 5-1, you have your Independent Project 5-5. As before, make sure you're taking notes on your guided project. You have your sim book for Chapter 5. And then going back to Chapter 4 here on Forms and Reports. Okay, all of this is due Sunday, April 21st. Don't leave things for the last minute. And with that, let's get into week 7. So week 7 is on Advanced Queries and Reports. As usual, you have your sim book, your guided and independent project. Here is the overview. Okay, so for chapter 6, we're going to be looking at action queries. Okay, there's 4 different types of action queries you're going to learn about. It's called the update query, append query, delete query, and then the make table queries. You'll have a chance to practice with all 4 in your sim book. Okay, so make sure you take the time to understand how these different types of action queries work. And then we're also going to look at crosstab queries using the query wizard, so you'll see that. And then again, here are the rest here. You have other different types of queries, such as top values. Okay, so you'll learn how to create a query showing your top values, whether it's the top 5 records or, the top 5%. And then we'll get into report sections. You'll learn how to build a report, add and delete fields in design view, and all of that good stuff. So all that right here under module objectives. And again, you just have your sim book, your guided and independent project. Make sure that you are giving yourself enough time throughout the week. As a matter of fact, you should be turning in work every week. Don't let things pile up, especially later on when we start getting into MOS prep with G-metrics. Anyway, that is all I have. Take care of yourselves out there. Have a good weekend. And one other note too, office hours in person tomorrow. I'm going to be at a workshop, so I'm only going to be available in M229 from 9 a.m. to about 9:50 because, again, I'll be attending a workshop tomorrow on campus. All right, take care of yourselves out there. Have a good weekend, and we'll do this again soon.